So this is going to be a very spoilery summary, as condensed as I can make it, about the Caraval series. So I started reading this year. I did read it in Espanol, and that kind of affected me because later I was like, what if I don't like this in English? I have not read it in English, I've just read it in Spanish, just for the disclaimer. I got the lovely holiday edition here. So I'm going to go book by book and just kind of give an overview of what's in it, what to expect. If you don't want spoilers, do not watch this. Alright, Caraval starts off with two sisters. So we've got Donatella, and then we also have Scarlet here. And basically they're in a really abusive situation with their dad, physical as well as emotional. Basically their mother's disappeared. This mostly follows Scarlet. We don't really see Donatella until the end. We see her at the beginning and then right at the end. And it's very interesting how everything is handled here. So I really am getting the vibe that a lot of millennial authors are just channeling all of their inner everything that happened to them in the 90s and early thousands. They get away from their abusive father by going to this game called Caraval. Basically it happens once a year. You are only able to go by invitation. You have to have a special invitation. You are constantly warned, this is just a game. Don't be too carried away by this. Obviously Scarlet is pretty carried away. She meets this guy named Julian. He is helping her out as they go. A lot of really crazy things happen, including people dying, including Julian dying. And then at the end, it is only for Scarlet to find out that Donatella orchestrated this entire thing. And she was concerned about basically them getting away from their dad and the abusive situation. Scarlet was going to try to marry her way out of it. Donatella was like, this is a really bad idea. She had been writing the Master of Caraval legend, trying to get an invitation for her and Scarlet for forever. And when she told Legend that Scarlet was about to get married, Legend was like, come on down. So Donatella was on the in as far as all of the happenings. Julian died, but the thing is, the actors in Caraval, if they die during Caraval, then they come back to life later. So, really wacky. I about died when Julian died, because Julian is Scarlett's love interest. He is really lovely, really amazing, really like him. This was really fun, but it was quite clear that things weren't over at the end, because Legend wrote Donatella. Next up, we have Legendary, and this is where we finally meet Legend. This follows Donatella. This is really, I really enjoyed it. And basically, they go to another city, and they have another Caraval going on. It is not normal to have like two Caravals go on in 1 year, but they have a special one for this queen and her birthday. There is so much magical stuff involved in this, I cannot even begin to condense it. So basically, we're going to say there are some fates. They are locked up in a deck of cards that Donatella and Scarlet's mom had. Some of them escaped, and then Donatella and Scarlet's mom got locked up in said cards. And that's why they had lost their mom in this first book. So Donatella is trying to figure out stuff. She's trying to find their mom. Along the way, we see a character that we had seen briefly in Caraval, Dante. In case you can't tell, I really like Dante. Donatella with Dante is trying to figure all this stuff out, find her mom. At the very end, the Legend reveal is really good. If you don't want to know who Legend is, stop listening right now. So, Legend is Dante. It's pretty obvious, but Stephanie Garber just, it's an emotional roller coaster in all of her books. It's a really good reveal, though. A lot of fun. And this is definitely a book where I'm just like, the book maybe, but the characters are not. There is no explicit content or spice or whatever, but there are just some suggestive moments that you can tell the characters are into each other. This is a lot of fun. The reveal with Legend was just too good, but then it's left on a major cliffhanger because at the end, Donatella chooses to sacrifice herself by putting herself in the deck of cards. So Legend has a very difficult decision to make. If you let the fates out of the cards, then that's going to wreak havoc over the entire land. He lets him out, and then he dumps Donatella on the steps of a temple place. And that's how this book ends. Alright, moving on to finale. So this is where we finally wrap up things. Major spoilers here, as I have already warned. So Donatella and Scarlet get their mom back very briefly before one of the fates kills the mom. and you find out that Scarlet is the result of the mom and a fate having a baby, whereas Donatella was the mom and the abusive dad having a baby. So they're trying to stop all of the fates. I mean, there's a lot more going on than that. Donatella knows that Legend, if she wants to love her, he has to be mortal. Legend is not mortal. There's a lot of magic going on here. So basically, Legend, Julian, all the actors in Caraval, they are immortal, and Legend would have to choose to give up his immortality to be with Donatella. He's kind of like one of the fates. The fates, they can't really love, and when they feel something strongly, it's more like obsession. It's not an actual love. Legend has decisions to make. Obviously, he makes the right one at the end. Julian's with Scarlet, Legend's with Donatella. A lot of craziness. They end up killing at least one of the fates. There are fates in these two. Well, one fate in particular, Jax, and he is the character in some other books that I don't doubt I will talk about later. So this is the trilogy. First, you would need to read Caraval, then Legendary, then Finale. I do highly recommend it if you liked the plot that I just told you. You like kind of romantic-y stuff with no spice, nothing explicit. Like I said, there are some heady moments there, but these are really good. I really enjoyed them. And I'm going to go ahead on to the fourth book. This is just like a bonus book. This is very Christmassy, very holiday-y, and it has illustrations. I did not enjoy this one as much. I had to read 100 pages of this before I actually was able to get into it. So at the end of this book, Donatella writes Legend a letter, and she's like, please kidnap me anytime you want, because I'm not sure if I'm cut out to be royalty. Spoiler, Scarlet basically becomes queen of the entire country. Donatella's like a princess. I'm not so sure I'm cut out for that. Spectacular is Legend just orchestrating kidnapping Donatella. It's basically Christmas time, and this is another one of those books that it's like, this is, but how things are handled don't feel very YA. She's trussed up, kidnapped. He's not revealing himself until the very end. Locked up in a room. Kind of weird. Not my favorite. I'm glad I read it to say that I read it. Will I read it again? I'm not sure. I do want to read these in English. So, interesting thing, I don't know if you've seen my other video, I talked a bit about the Powerless series. I read the first two Powerless books in Spanish, and then I read them the last one in English. I hated it in English. It was just too flowery. Since I read these in Spanish, I was scared that I was not going to like Stephanie Garber's other works, but I did read her Once Upon a Broken Heart series in English. Loved it. I'm probably going to reread this in English just for funsies. I really liked it. Maybe not the last one, but the trilogy, I'll probably read in English just for comparison. I know that was crazy long, but I was trying to condense everything. If you have any questions about this series, anything you want to know about it, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you've read it, what do you think? Do you feel like it's a pretty fair assessment, what I mentioned here? Let me know in the comment section, and thanks for watching.